What's up everybody, this is Master Ian Gamer, and with the spookiest event of the year drawing ever closer, now is the perfect time to look at what skins we could be getting for Halloween Terror. Halloween boasts some of the greatest potential for new skins, and has historically held some of the community's all-time favorites. So let's take a look at some of the coolest, most terrifying new skins we might be getting with this year's Overwatch Halloween event. As always, if you end up enjoying this video, then be sure to like, sub, and hit the bell to keep up with all my future Overwatch content. Now, I have to mention real quickly that, yes, I'm aware of the various leaks we've gotten for the upcoming event. In fact, I've already made videos covering them and speculating who exactly they're for. But in this video, I'm more or less going to pretend that the leaks don't exist, and simply look at skin possibilities that we could see, either this year in addition to those which were leaked, or perhaps in the future. But anyways, let's kick it off with Sorceress Moira. This is one of those skins which feels somewhat inevitable for her, and given that magic and witchcraft fit perfectly within the scope of Halloween, this seems like the perfect event to get it. Her abilities already feel very magical, and her scientist background could easily be compared to a mythical wizard or sorcerer. On top of that, this kind of skin would make her the perfect candidate for being a new Junkenstein's Revenge boss, as I could easily see someone with dark powers like these working with the Witch of the Wilds and her other minions. Blizzard could go for either a more scientist-esque skin design like Junkenstein himself, or it may closer resemble Witch Mercy in terms of using pure mystical magic. Either way, it'd be a great skin for a hero who so far hasn't gotten many event legendaries. Moving on, we have Mummy Genji. Once again, looking at the hero's backstory, Genji nearly died at the hands of his brother before being saved by Mercy. He only made it by being fused into a new cyborg body, which he now depends on in order to survive. Wrapping his body in white cloth could easily fit with his design, even down to the loose bit of material which trails behind every one of his skins. Additionally, his weapons would likely be stylized to fit a more Egyptian theme, as that is the region with which mummies are often most closely associated. While we already see a style similar to this in his Nomad skins, Blizzard could easily add more detail, possibly even designing it to appear more horrific than these other two. Next up though, we have Werewolf Winston. This is one of those skins that seems good at first, but gets better the more you think about it. Sure, both of them are large, dark-furred beasts, so to say, but the real deal maker for me on this skin idea is the fact that Winston's primal rage fits perfectly for the idea of a werewolf transformation. A kind-mannered scientist by day, Winston occasionally becomes a ferocious beast, lunging across the battlefield and swiping at anyone in his path. While the fact that he's a gorilla doesn't quite coincide with the wolf aspect of a werewolf, I think it's close enough to work. His Tesla cannon and jump pack could even be stylized to have a 19th century aesthetic, thus making the skin as a whole fit in with many of the other classic horror story inspired skins which are already in game. And next, we have another fitting skin which has been brought up countless times in the community, and that's Plague Dr. Ana. Boasting the iconic beaked mask and vials of questionable substances, this creepy costume would fit perfectly within the Halloween event. Her gun could be stylized into a medieval repeater rifle, and Biotic Grenade would fit perfectly as some kind of potion. While Reaper does already have a Plague Doctor skin, I don't think that would prevent other heroes from being able to get one too. Besides, Ana seems to fit the concept best of all, what with her being an old-timey cloak-wearing medic. And next, we have one of my personal favorite skin ideas, and that's Ghostbuster Zarya. Now, this is an idea that has been floating around since at least last year's event, and some people even went ahead and made some cool concept images of what this skin might look like. The tan jumpsuit and large beam weapon would fit her aesthetic perfectly, and you could even draw the comparison of her Graviton ultimate to the ghost traps which suck in the pesky spirits. The only real issue I see is the copyright restrictions around designing a skin like this, but I'm sure Blizzard could get away with it if they switched up the jumpsuit design and called it something like Ghost Hunter instead of Ghostbuster. Beyond Zarya though, I could also see this skin being for Winston instead, given that he also wields a bulky gun which granted shoots out electricity instead of this. but the comparison is still there. Also, his barrier projector could be considered the ghost trap, and on top of all that, he's already a scientist, which would match up better as a Ghostbuster than a soldier/weightlifter. Personally though, I still feel like Zarya would be the better choice between the two, but I could see either working. Next though, we have two much more comedic Halloween skins, which are Cardboard, D.Va, and Reinhardt. Now these sort of cardboard skins could work for a number of different heroes, but I picked these two based on their already in-game sprays. Basically, the idea behind them is just that they're cheap Halloween costumes made out of cardboard and duct tape. Reinhardt's would probably make a little more sense than D.Va's, as a working cardboard mech is a bit harder to imagine than just a large man strapping boxes to his body, but regardless, both would be comedically fun skins to have in game, and would definitely introduce a much more humorous vibe amongst the event's many other horror-themed cosmetics. But while on the topic of Reinhardt, there are actually two Halloween skins we've seen for him that don't exist yet in game, being the Admiral and King from the Junkenstein comics. Both of these fit him very well, and definitely look like something that could be added. Additionally, 3 of the other skins we see in the 2016 comic weren't released until the 2017 event. So who's to say that Blizzard hasn't been holding out on one or both of these Reinhardt skins for just another year? Now, between the two of these skins, I'd have to say that the Admiral seems a bit more likely to actually make it into the game, since Reinhardt already has some rather kingly looking skins. So getting another wouldn't feel as special or unique as the Seafarer one, but like the Mercy Witch skin, which we see in the same comic, perhaps Blizzard will decide to change up its actual appearance in-game, thus meaning that we could be in for a pleasant surprise with either of these two teased Reinhardt skins. Likewise, we also have a Genji swordsman skin shown in the 2017 Junkenstein comic. This could certainly be a future Halloween skin as well, and I actually talked about it a bit more in detail in one of my previous videos, which you can check out through the card on screen. Shifting back to D.Va though, she in particular has a few good possibilities of her own. The first of these is simply some kind of jack-o'-lantern. The mech's size and shape would be perfect as a giant rideable pumpkin, and D.Va herself could wear some kind of matching attire. Also, this could easily be a skin for Wrecking Ball as well, given his own mech's spherical design. Regardless of which hero it's for, maybe being both, I could also easily see it being an epic skin instead of a legendary. Changing the mech colors and detailing slightly to better resemble a pumpkin, and then just giving minor detailing to either D.Va or Hammond could make it fit the jack-o'-lantern theme without needing to greatly remodel the base skin. Another great idea that could work is Cinderella D.Va. In this skin, the mech would be stylized more into a pumpkin carriage rather than a straight-up jack-o'-lantern, and D.Va herself would have some kind of fancy princess dress. Once again, copyright might become a bit of an issue, but for a skin like this, I could see Blizzard generalizing the design enough to work around any limitations. But moving away from the whole pumpkin motif and considering a very different sort of skin design for D.Va, we have D.Va the Destroyer. Now this skin likely sounds familiar to some of you, and that's because it's actually a skin for her in Heroes of the Storm. Needless to say, it looks pretty cool, and I can't really see anyone complaining if this were to get added into Overwatch. Given that Symmetra got her dragon skin last year, I really see no reason that Blizzard couldn't add more demonic themed skins into the game, especially for the Halloween event. It wouldn't have to look exactly like D.Va the Destroyer. The mech in particular I think could be redesigned at least a little, and they'd probably give the skin a different name, but in terms of a new skin, this is certainly one which would be both unique and welcome. Beyond just D.Va, I could see a number of different heroes getting demon themed skins. People have done some cool concepts of a demon Orisa, and depending on the level of detail, some heroes could even just get epic versions like Hanzo's from back in 2016. Basically, anyone could get something simple like this, so just take your pick. Now before I wrap up, I will just mention that all these skins are simply based off of fun ideas that would accurately fit both the event and the specific heroes. They aren't taking into account which heroes are most likely to get new skins this time around, based off of who's gotten what in the past. I may make a video later delving into the statistical side, but I did already address it a little bit in one of my earlier videos, where I discussed the event's start date and some of the already leaked skins. Again, if you haven't seen that, I'll I'll include a card linking to it. Also, this is by no means all the possible Halloween skins. I'm sure you guys have a ton of great ideas which I simply haven't thought of, so please feel free to drop those down in the comments. If I can collect enough cool ideas, I may even be able to make another skin ideas video before the event starts. Also, if any of you happen to possess artistic talent, feel free to send me your own Halloween skin concept drawings. I might end up showing them off in a future video. And if you liked any of the artwork I used in this video, then I'll include links to all the artists down in the description. But for now, thank you so much for watching. Be sure to leave a like if you enjoyed this video, and share it with a friend if you really liked it. Subscribe and hit the bell to keep up with all my future Overwatch content, and follow me on Twitter for fun polls and channel updates. This is Master Ian Gamer signing off, and until next time, have a great day.